The Double Loser podcast is back again. We are currently watching The Hills, and we are your hosts, Morg and Joe. Welcome back if you're rejoining us. If you're new here, we're happy you've come and found us. We are rewatching old reality TV shows. Right now, we're going through The Hills. What do you think, Joe? I'm enjoying it a ton.
Me too. I am. So we are almost finished with season 1, and this week we watched episodes 8 and 9. So Morg, we're almost done, and it is juicy.
Yes, I've just marathoned through. It's been really fun to watch. I didn't expect it because I'd never watched The Hills before. A lot of our listeners are rewatching, but Joe and I are watching for the first time, which it's been an adventure.
Oh, the flashbacks to the early 2000s is just too much for me, Morg.
It's overwhelming. Memories flood in while you're watching it, and you're just overwhelmed.
Yes, like I just the things that they say and they do and the clothes they wear, it's like they all carry memories for me, it feels like.
Well, a quick summary of episodes 8 and 9, because that's what we'll be talking about today. So season 1, episode 8 is all about Lauren Conrad's birthday, Joe. So that's the central theme. We got to go shopping for a birthday dress. She got to celebrate her birthday with her horrible boyfriend, Jason, which we've already established. Heidi and her job, Lauren's job, are continued footage for the show and continued annoyance for me because they're both so bad at their jobs. And that theme has not left us. So we get to see Teen Vogue filming a swimsuit model shoot. And then we get to see Heidi trying to run the bar scene, or the night scene, that she so desperately wants to do. And then in episode 9, Joe, we move on to their relationships. And I was surprised that in this episode, Heidi and Jordan break up before Jason and Lauren. So sorry if that is a spoiler, but this is over 10 years old. So
can't really be mad.
I'm not that sorry. But that is the main focus of episode 9. There's so many places we could start, Joe, but I thought we should maybe just talk briefly about their B-Day shopping for Lauren's dress.
Oh, I think we have to. This is where we start the episode, and it just right out of the gates was a lot to take in. I mean, it's who's shopping here. We've got Audrina, Whitney. It's all of our girls, Lauren and Heidi.
It's the girl crew,
girl squad. And
I'm surprised they weren't in a hot tub, to be honest.
Yeah, but Morg, how would they? Honestly, though, they feel like they're so wealthy, they could have had someone bring her outfits to try on.
To the hot tub.
Yeah, I want that, but I'm pretty wet right now because I'm in a hot tub, so I'll try it on later.
You try it on and show me what it looks like on you.
Yes. So, Morg, first thing that jumps out to me right at the start of the episode is as they're walking, they're talking about how I don't know what they're skipping out on, but Heidi's like, I love ditching. It's a thing I love. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, if Heidi had a Real Housewives tagline, bam, that was it. That to me summed up Heidi in 6 words or however many words it was. It was the definition of Heidi.
Yeah, Heidi didn't even need to say that. We already knew that. Name one thing you know about Heidi. That I would have already been able to say that. She loves stitching. She doesn't want to work.
It's a thing she loves.
It's a thing she loves. I feel like they were ditching work. I don't think they explicitly said that, but I would bet money on it.
I would too, based on the way these people's careers are going, or the way that we see how much they care about their career is.
And we use career in a light term here.
Yes, very loose, very loose.
I think they were ditching work so that they could go buy, what was it? Of course, Joe, birthdays are the most important thing to these people. And Lauren must buy a birthday dress during her working hours.
Yes, because Morg, the shops will not be open after her part-time internship.
Well, and how could Heidi do what she loves if she didn't do it during working hours? She loves stitching. So
you're right. It wouldn't be nearly as fun if they did it after working hours.
So instead of actually being efficient with their time, they walk by a wedding dress store and are like, should we try on wedding dresses? I was like, no, you shouldn't. You should buy the dress and get back to work.
Yes. My inner goody two-shoes Morg was I would never, just because one, I couldn't stop thinking about how much did the people that worked at the shop probably hated them because they probably could tell immediately that they were just there to screw around and make them bring them dresses, and then they would have to put them up. Like I was so instantly annoyed.
Yeah, no, I was frustrated watching it as well because I could feel for the retail people that were just bringing 19-year-old dresses, wedding dresses that they weren't going to buy.
Yeah, annoying. Yeah.
But I did really like that when they were shopping, one thing that stood out to me that I wrote down was Lauren saying she wanted to buy a birthday dress, but then she said, or like a breathtaking shirt. And I myself want a breathtaking shirt.
A breathtaking shirt to wear with your capris.
And your Fred Flintstone huge chunky necklace.
And your flip-flops.
Like,
that would be the best. I'm sure I did wear something like that for my birthday.
A breathtaking shirt.
A breathtaking shirt with capris and chunky beads.
Okay. The whole outfit.
the whole look, Morg.
I can't really picture what. I don't think I own a breathtaking shirt now. Like, what would even a breathtaking shirt look like?
Oh, that's so true. What is Morg? A shirt that takes someone's breath away upon viewing it.
Wow. Okay, I'd never owned one of those. I have no idea what it would look like. But now it's a goal for me.
Okay, but have you ever seen a shirt, a blouse that took your breath away?
In a bad way.
What did it look like?
I feel like multiple ones that I've seen on this show like have been make me gasp. She's wearing that to work? A sequin cami? Yeah, no.
So strappy in a professional setting?
Okay, you know what? I did actually on our Instagram story, I posted a short series of stories while I was shopping at Buc-ee's, and a breathtaking shirt that I saw. If y'all don't know, Buc-ee's is like the Hall of Fame of bathrooms at gas stations in Texas. Like, they prided themselves first on having the cleanest bathrooms, and that made them really popular. And now there's like 10 Buc-ee's all over the state, and they sell tons of food, like beef jerky, household items now. Like, it's just like a really weird collection.
It's like a Target in there. They've got clothes, they've got home goods, like they've got everything. It's crazy, and it feels like it's only a matter of time before it goes nationwide.
Yeah, it's like any day now the franchise could open to the rest of the country, and we're rooting for y'all to be able to experience it.
Well, be afraid, y'all, if you don't live. Oh, I was thinking the other way. I was like, man, Buc-ee's is very in your face.
It is, but I love it because this is a tangent, but it like epitomizes what I expect out of a road trip. Like, I expect to eat like some really nasty food because I'm driving all day. I don't want to I need a treat. I need to pick me up. Buc-ee's has it, y'all. Not only does it have it, it has aisles and aisles and aisles of it.
This is very true. Okay.
So they're really buying into what they know you're doing, because they are on main highways as you're driving through small towns.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. And they're very good at marketing. Okay, anyways, where were we going with the Buc-ee's thing?
Breathtaking shirt at Buc-ee's. So Buc-ee is a little beaver who's their mascot. And one of the shirts that was hanging up there was the beaver in a chef hat, and then a shirt that was a crawfish boil shirt. So it just had little corn on the cobs, crawfish, potatoes all over it. That was a breathtaking shirt, but like in the bad way.
I don't know. It sounds like in the good way. It sounds like an awesome shirt.
Joe, I had it in my hand. I was going to buy it, and then I was like, $24. Like, Morgan, stop.
And that is the thing with Buc-ee's. It is so overpriced.
It is, but I did buy a swimsuit, so I'm bringing it we're going to Mexico, y'all, and I'm bringing it.
I'm sorry, is Buc-ee on your swimsuit?
Yes.
More, you got to share photos of this on the Instagram for sure. I want to see this. I
will, yes. So breathtaking, I have to say. Yes. Nobody said it had to be the kind that everybody loves what you're wearing.
This is true. I have a feeling that swimsuit's going to take my breath away.
I honestly never actually saw if Lauren got her dress. So the scene really just ended with us never knowing if she got her breathtaking shirt or a dress.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we see her celebrating her birthday at the end, but you're right. There's like zero emphasis. They really never revisit the top/dress issue.
Yeah. So she must have either just, found something that was not worth filming or something she already had. So bummer. You got to go to Buc-ee's to actually get what you needed.
Too bad it didn't exist back in 2006, 2007, whenever this was.
Yeah. But Lauren turns 20. Congrats to Lauren. She says explicitly she will never be a teenager again, which is a fact.
Morg, can you think of any times you've done that where you've like stated a fact, but in a way that was like really dramatic and it's like, okay, yeah, but duh.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I'm making small talk with coworkers, I'll say like the dumbest crap, but I'm just like filling airtime. And I'm like, why did I say that? Because those are those moments when you're like, you're talking about the weather or something so mundane, but you're just, filling airtime. You're like, yeah, it's so crazy. Like this storm hit like it does every other week in Austin. And I just am talking about this like it's the biggest news ever.
That is so true. It's like usually when you don't know what to say. So, I wonder what that means for Jason and Lauren's relationship, that they had nothing to talk about. So she's like, do you realize I will never be a teenager again?
Well, I can totally see them not having much to say to each other because
we did see that. And they basically didn't have anything to say to each other, or hardly ever have anything to say to each other.
Yeah. Speaking of them just saying nothing to each other, Jason takes her to dinner for her birthday, because it was questionable at one point if he was just not going to do anything for her birthday. So glad that happened. He proceeds to try to like manipulate her to go out. Joe, did you notice this? I was like, what is happening in this scene?
Oh, yeah, more because it felt like the most obvious attempt at trying to get what he wanted, but making her feel like it was what she wanted. Like the way he went about it was so cringy.
Yes.
Definitely the cringiest moment, I think, of both episodes this week.
Oh, cringiest moment is both episodes. Yeah, like I don't know. So he starts it off by being like, some friend of theirs, never heard of him, never been in the show, is going out tonight. And he's just like letting her know, okay, already annoying me. And he's like, so, Ralph's going out tonight or whatever the name was. I can't even remember. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then she explicitly has to go, do you want to go with him? And then he's like, whatever you want to do, it's your birthday. But I was just like, step one, put the idea out there and make her feel like it's her idea. Then step two, he's like, oh, and like, do you want to meet up with Heidi and Jordan tonight? It's like, she already acknowledged your other friend, said nothing about it. So here we are now trying to put like a different friend out there. And she's like, no, but like, if you want to go out, we can go out. But I don't want to go out. I want to stay in. Like, I don't know how much more explicit she could have been. And he then proceeds to be like, I'm sorry, what? Like, he can't hear her. And it's like, wait, what is this guy like sitting across the dinner table from her? And he's like, sorry, did you say you do want to go out? Because I won't hear you until you say that.
I know. I thought that was a very interesting tactic to be like, what? Like, what was that? Like, I didn't quite hear that. Oh, you're not saying what I want to hear? Like, I'm not hearing it.
Like me robbing a bank. I'm sorry, you put the 10 million in the bag? I won't leave until you say that instead of saying you're going to call the police.
I feel like that would be a very interesting strategy to get through your life. Like, I'm sorry, I got promoted, not this other person. Okay, great. I'll be moving into this office in like 2 days.
I like that. I feel like it would work in your favor sometimes.
Right? Where people are just like, no, that's not what I said. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? Like, oh my gosh, you're also not only just going to give me a promotion, but a raise or a bonus.
I'm sorry, what? I must have misheard you.
Right? Like, and then maybe they just give up and they're like, oh, just give it to her. Like, I can't deal with it.
Yeah. So what is Joe, what's a scenario you're dealing with right now where you would like to use this Jason tactic?
Oh my gosh. Like vacation days, Morg. You're like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you're just going to give me the month of May off or the month of June off? Like, I don't know, just something where it's like, I'm sorry, what?
She's gone.
Like, you're gonna pay me more or you're gonna give me more benefits? Like, okay. That's
like, you're just straight up not showing to work and they call you and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, like, what did you say? Oh, I can stay out longer? Like, it just like never ends.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I can't even think of another situation where I'd be pulling that word.
That's a good one. I just thought it was so obvious, but maybe it's been working for him and it's something like I haven't tried it yet. Maybe I need to.
Yeah, well, and Morg, I'm thinking for you, as we've said before, you're planning a wedding. I feel like that could be really nice with vendors.
Oh, I'm sorry. What? You gave me a 50% off discount? That is incredible.
An extra tier on this cake for free? Get out of here. You too kind.
I like it. Okay. I feel like that's a great way for me to use it.
Did Jason actually teach us something?
I don't know. I came in here, shots fired, and now I'm like, well, maybe it's not a bad idea.
We'll have to test it out, see how it goes. I have a feeling it's not going to go well.
It's not going to work as well as we hope.
Well, I mean, and it didn't work for Jason. Lauren saw right through it.
Oh my gosh, yes. And so after he pretends like he can't hear her, she has to like explicitly say like, Jason, I've already told you I want to stay in. So if you want to go out, you need to say it. Like, the baby that you are. And instead he finally simmers down and it's like, no, we can do whatever you want, but what are we gonna do? Like, then he like attacks her idea of staying in. He's like, what are we gonna do? Like, we're gonna watch a movie? Like, is that what we're gonna do? Because I just need to know what we're gonna do. Have you never stayed in once in your life, Jason? Like, calm down.
Yeah, well, Morg, I think we have to remember, I think we've mentioned this before, that we did some research, and I believe he was definitely addicted to cocaine at this point. So maybe we're seeing some of that.
So he's ready to party. He's like, how can I possibly sit through a movie? I've already gone to the bathroom twice.
What are we going to do? Are we going to sit here? Are we going to... And he looked miserable on that bed watching that movie.
Oh, yeah. He was just the worst movie he's ever seen.
Yes. He did not look like he had ever seen a movie. It was like a foreign language film or something is what it looked like.
Yeah. As much as like now I can credit him with giving me the I'm sorry, what tactic, I cannot really give him any credit for being a good boyfriend yet. Still continuing to be terrible.
Oh yeah, no, he's horrible. The worst. But so meanwhile, Lauren's dealing with this with Jason. Heidi's on the night scene. So Brent, her boss that we adore, he annoyingly calls her into his office. He's wearing a suit, Joe. Did that surprise you? I wrote it down. It was just different for Brent. It's like, I know that this show took place a really long time ago, but I mean, the last episode, weren't we just hating on Brent for trying to like seem really young and like had with a Justin Bieber haircut? And it's like he heard us
and he changed
and put on a suit. Still rocking the hair, but it's like he's trying to look a little more adulty.
Yeah, so maybe we get to see him transition into adulthood during this show.
When I see the haircut, I'll believe it.
Yeah. So he calls Heidi into his office and tells her that she's going to be working a venue, LAX. I guess that's a club in LA. She's going to be working at
the airport.
No, it's a club they've gone to a few times, but.
I know, but I think it is also the airport. So, I mean, people could be confused.
You must know the night scene to know where to go. So he's handing something to Heidi. Like, this is the first time I've seen Brent, like, willingly give her responsibility. She must be doing better.
Morg, it had to have been, like, the suit. That suit had magical powers because he was in such a good mood. And he was like, I'm counting on you, Heidi. Me and so-and-so are going to be at a different club. So you got to bring all your friends and whatever. And, like, but he was like trusting her with the responsibility and he smiled, I think. He
smiled, but you know what he didn't hear? He didn't hear her admitting that she was ditching moments earlier.
Yeah, he might not have given her that task.
And how much she loves ditching. I was surprised because I felt up until this point, it had been very obvious that Brent was being forced to give her this job. And now it just seemed like, okay, fine. He's either over it and is like, this is just the way it is, or he's like, maybe she's good at what she does. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, Morg. Only time will tell. But I agree. It was a confusing moment because it did seem like he liked her, and every other moment we've seen him, he seems so reluctant, I guess maybe is the word.
Do we think the MTV producers had to have a talk with him? Like, listen, everybody can tell that we made you give her this job. So can you just like cut her some slack?
Can you like try to act for us here? We're going to have to refilm the scene anyways.
And he's like, oh, I'll go put on a suit.
Probably, Morg. I don't trust it.
I don't either. But he did say something that I wanted to discuss because he requested that she bring all of her friends and work this venue while he's at the other event that they're having at the same time, and asked her for a full report the next day. He's like, I want a full report tomorrow. What do we think that Heidi reported on? Because we don't get to see the full report.
You're so right, and I feel like that would probably have been the actual climax of the show if they chose to include it. But I feel like, just knowing what I know about Heidi, there would have been a lot of gaping holes in the report, because she'd be in the club hanging out.
Yeah, like there'd be like time, like like when a detective's investigating a murder and there's just like time gaps missing,
just like that.
And they're like, where was he between midnight and 2 a.m.? That is how Heidi's report on her job would be. It's like her alibi's missing.
Missing half the night. And then I could see the rest of it being really vague, or like focused on things that don't matter, like really cute boys in the club, lots of cute boys. Like there was like a bunch of people, and it was like a really good time.
I just imagine like nothing being like substantial for him to like make a decision off of it or know that it was a good night. Like, Heidi, can you give me a range of like number of people that came in the door? No way. She could do like
no quantitative.
But you know what number she could sell him? Like, oh, I took 18 shots. Like, these are the numbers she's going to be able to get. Like, how much did we get in sales last night? No idea. But I did have 6 girlfriends join me, and they all love me now and owe me a favor.
Yeah, you want to talk numbers? 6 girls plus me equals a whole lot of shots and boys. Like, I mean, I feel like she's just a moron. Yeah, you're right. I could see that. No quantitative data.
Yeah, I guess we'll see, because that was really the majority of the Heidi job footage for these 2 episodes. So we're going to have to wait till episode 10 to see how it progresses.
Yeah, I know. Things are on the up and up, it looks like.
Well, proud of her.
Same. She's done a few things for me this 2 episodes that I was like, oh, Heidi girl, yes.
She also mentions that she hasn't been sleeping. So our girl's working. She's like, I'm working nights, I'm working days. Like, she's like, I'm not even sleeping. Like, we got Heidi working hard for Heidi's standards.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although I will say, what I know about Heidi, I had to take it with a grain of salt, because Heidi's definition of like working hard and working a lot is like part-time.
You're right. And she still hasn't even gotten moved to part-time, which apparently is the dream. Forget benefits. Yes. I want to work part-time.
Don't we all?
But Lauren Conrad also had a very exciting job opportunity in this episode. She was over at Teen Vogue, and they were casting swimsuit models, Joe.
Oh, Morg, everything about this. So when they find out that they have to do it, they go sit in there with Lisa,
a girl
who is their boss, and it's Whitney and Lauren. And as soon as Lisa tells them that they're going to be casting male models, they're just like, oh. It's like,
yeah, like look at each other and are like giggling so much.
Right? So like right off the bat, we know how awkward they are. But when they do that, Lisa just looks at them and she's like, behave accordingly. I loved it.
Okay, I loved that too. I was like, Lisa's not having it. But also, Lisa, what are you talking about? According to what? Behave accordingly.
Morg, in a professional capacity, like, but at the same time, why the heck did you put 2 19-year-old girls on?
Yeah, to cast 20-year-old models.
Thank you. Like, I'm sorry, but Lisa, you kind of set yourself up for that.
Yeah, and then, but I don't know. I guess it just annoyed me that she didn't acknowledge it and just said behave accordingly.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was just like, could you just say like, come on, ladies, like, there's nothing to giggle about. Like, this is a professional setting, and I expect you to treat the boys that way.
You're right, but behave accordingly. You could really argue they were behaving accordingly. According to the situation, they were young girls surrounded by half-naked boys.
Yeah. I mean, this is, again, like, Lisa's let me down multiple times, because she never seems to reprimand anybody and tries to be a badass, but isn't, because she's just, I don't know what the right word is, but she just seems to fall over when I need her to be some tough love.
But Morg, I feel like Lisa is missing like a spark in her eyes. Like, I think MTV has like forced her
to like a deflated human being.
Yes, like she's lost her passion to rule over interns, because MTV's always there telling her how she needs to be. And I feel like she's just sick of it, Morg. She's fed up. and that's all she's got. Defeated.
Okay, so we think MTV's the villain here, not Lisa.
I mean, one can only wonder, Morg.
Yeah, that's true. I have to speculate a lot on this show.
It's just half the fun, right?
Makes it so fun.
It's like it's like reality TV is like a puzzle in of itself. Like what is fake? What is real?
We are doing the Da Vinci Code reality TV style.
Yes.
Yes. So the swimwear model casting, a lot of drama is like baked into this part of the episode because, of course, they're already not acting professional with their boss, Lisa. Then it just happens to be at Audrina's office. That's where they're going to do the casting. So we get to see like a crossover with their jobs in this episode.
What are the odds, Morg?
Right? I was like, this isn't set up at all, MTV. And they like made sure to specifically even film it. Like,
yeah,
Lauren has to go ask, like, and where have they made a decision on where it's going to be done yet? And he's like, Kyoto Studios. And she's like, oh my God, that's where Audrina's at. And I was like, did we need this BS shoved in our face?
Yeah, that's true. Like, we would have just found out when we saw it.
Yeah, I guess as they're doing the casting, Joe, one of the models was from a future Bravo show, and I just lost it because I saw Tom Sandoval being cast for this.
Morg, I like paused it and lost it for a minute. I was like, Tom Sandoval? And he was so Tom Sandoval.
Like, he hasn't changed a bit. For those of you who don't know, he is on Vanderpump Rules, the Bravo TV show. And he was getting cast in this Teen Vogue swimwear commercial.
But his whole energy was like too cool for school, which I found annoying, but at the same time, so him.
Yeah, he's always been like that. Even on the Vanderpump Rules, he's always like so cool, so like, oh no, we can't do that. We got to do this.
But he's not. Like, I feel like it's a facade. It's like he tries to seem like that, but he's a little bit crazy. Like, he's kind of uptight.
Yeah, he tries to be chill, and he's not. But
oh, he is not California chill.
What a blast from the past. Not California chill at all.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was a really weird accidental crossover.
Yes, I loved it though, because I, was obsessed with Vanderpump Rules. So seeing him in this before he got famous was hilarious to me.
I know that this is probably silly, but for me, I kind of felt like, how did that never come up in Vanderpump? Where he was like, yeah, I actually was in the hills. Like, it just feels like we should have previously known.
I know, y'all should address this. I guess it wasn't a big enough, it wasn't big enough for him to really say much about it. I mean, he was literally on the screen probably like 7 seconds.
But more, he spoke. He was like, yeah, I like it. I like LA. It's cool. Yeah,
it's cool. I came for the music.
For all that stuff, yeah.
Too bad we didn't get more screen time of him. I loved it. But Joe, these girls during this photo shoot are not behaving accordingly. Okay.
Oh no, not at all. But what did we expect? This is like, Morg, I'm starting to think these girls have like defiance issues because, I'm having flashbacks to Lauren supposedly guarding couches, which she's explicitly told not to sit on. And she does. Like, I mean, they're very defiant.
I agree with that. And then also, I mean, how unprofessional would it be to be like giving your number to people that you're supposed to be like working with in a professional setting on? I just thought like between her, Whitney, Audrina, I think all of them were all like flirting with these boys. And then Audrina's like, here's my number.
I know she's
just like, y'all are not professional.
And Audrina is so like, I feel like I know girls like her where it's like she picked out one and she's like, that's the one that I want. And like, that's the one that like she went after. Like, it was very like targeted.
Okay, that's so true. I do feel like there are girls like that it's like, there's going to be a setting where a lot of boys are going to be there, and then I'm going to tell my friends which ones I want to talk to, and then they're like, their job is to get that boy to get over to me or come talk to us.
Yeah, so I think I'd be like, girl, you on your own. I'm going to hang out in this room with models.
And Joe, you mentioned this before we started recording, but I think we do need to discuss the music that was playing. The literal music in this show is ridiculous. Like I know we've touched on it a bit before, but it doesn't stop.
Well, and Morg, like you just said, it's so literal. Like there's been several songs that are just too fitting. It's like scary. And the one that played through the shoot, I believe it was like, I don't know the tune, like the melody at all, but I think the lyrics were like, take off your pants and dance.
Yeah.
And as Whitney's like, okay, you need to take your shirt off. And they're like, take off your pants and dance.
Take off those pants and dance. Yes. Like, why do you have a literal song about getting undressed while the models are getting undressed?
Yeah, well, I mean, and I know we already touched on this, but like when Lauren and Jason were in their room for the wedding, and it was like, or the wedding, excuse me, for her birthday dinner, the song that was on, I wrote it down too, because it was like, I'll be someone else for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, like
I saw that.
The songs, like MTV is really good at finding the song that is like the most literal. Like, I mean, there must be just a million songs out there to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, none of them are good. So they had a task at hand was not to play relevant songs. The task was to find lyrics that align to the scenes, and they did that.
Lyrics that really apparently like told the viewer exactly what they needed to know, because we are incapable of inferring, I guess.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And Whitney, yeah. So she's like telling all these guys because they needed to take their Polaroids without their shirts on because they're swimsuit models. But she's so giggly, and I feel like she's so awkward too while these guys are like talking to her. Because what happened between two, like one of the guys is talking to her and is like, "Where's the party?" And she's just like, and I was like, what is this interaction?
I know, more. But okay, maybe I take back that earlier was the cringiest part. This might have been the cringiest part. And she's like, where's your party? Like, she straight up was like, didn't have anything to say.
What party? Y'all's party.
It's like, that was hard to watch, because it's like, Whitney, come on, girl, get it together. Like, he's just a person.
Yes. And Whitney is wearing, I feel like I comment on their clothes too much, but she is wearing a cami that shows her pink bra like underneath it. And I was just like, Whitney, again, behave accordingly, being the key words your boss told you. Why are you wearing this unprofessional outfit?
Yeah, Whitney, come on. I mean, I see your strategy, but girl, that is not behaving accordingly.
Her strategy is to have boys ask where the party is and her tell them nothing.
What? Where's the party?
Where's your party?
Well, and then Morg, I don't know why this really jumped out to me. I think it was the same dude, but he basically said something that was like, just give me the right number and I'll be there. And it was like, one, super like assertive. But two, like, why did he have to specify the right number? Like, how many times has this boy been given the wrong number? How insecure was he?
Yeah, so insecure. Or like, give me the right number and I'll call you. It's like, what? Do you normally get the wrong number? Or do you gaslight women and say that they gave you the wrong number and that's why you never called, but you did get the right number?
I don't know. Confusing, but pretty amazing that Whitney was able to pull it off only by being like, what?
Yeah, Whitney needed out of there. She was not going to be able to keep it together much longer, behaving accordingly.
No, not at all.
But the boys in this show, our main character boys, Jason, Jordan, Heidi's boyfriend, and then Brian, Jordan's roommate. They had a lot of scenes.
Says it all.
Oh God, right? It does say it all. Brian. He was annoying me so much these two episodes. And I know we touched on it before, but it really bothers me that these guys can't have scenes where they're just like talking. They have to be like doing something. And in this one, they're talking and they are playing basketball.
Yeah, it's like, I don't buy that that's realistic.
Yeah, like you can only film me while I'm doing manly guy things. Because me and the boys, we don't sit and talk about our feelings.
We play it out.
Adrenaline. Well, we also have a scene with the boys where they are making drinks. And Brian explicitly is like talking about a cool drink he's making. And he's like, listen, I'm going to make a drink with orange soda and orange Gatorade.
I mean, Morg, I feel like that's yeah. I watched that scene twice because I really didn't like. I felt like I missed something. Like there was something to know there that never happened, and I was just like, oh no, this is just stupid and a waste of my time.
I think it was to know like that was the point.
That these boys are morons
Yeah.
and everything that comes out of Brian's mouth is worthless and means nothing.
Like you would never know it's two orange drinks because they're mixed together, but like it is two different orange drinks.
It's my secret creation. I call it double orange.
I don't know, but during this scene though, they do have a little bit of a chat, and that's where Jason, I think, finds out from Jordan that the models are male at the Teen Vogue shoot, because previously we did see Lauren lie to Jason and say it was all girls, which was a pretty explicit lie. I was kind of like, this is weird.
I agree. I think it really just confirmed that they have a really dysfunctional relationship, that she was like only girls and she like went out of her way to lie, and I was like, "Oh, Lauren, girl, like just tell him." But I mean, it definitely red flag, like apparently Jason couldn't handle it.
Well, and it just kind of like scared me for her, because he's like, what kind of models? Like, just like getting like already so aggressive about it. She works at Teen Vogue. I would assume that's like her daily occurrence, is sometimes seeing models.
I That's a really good point. Like, of course, you can't expect her to not encounter people, but yeah, when she's like just the girls, he just like I think he's even chewing gum and he's just kind of nodding, and he looked real creepy.
Yeah, I was like, this is not a safe space, Lauren. This man
No,
is ready
no.
to attack. What kind of models? But I feel like we, like, the boys, of course, got their moments in the sun, but we really saw a lot in episode 9 of the relationships going on here, specifically Lauren and Jason, and then Heidi and Jordan, which we already noted, but we should deep dive on. They break up. Devastating.
Yes, but again, not a shock at all.
As we all know, we've been waiting for Spencer to show up on the scene, like, so we got to get rid of Jordan.
Countdown to Spencer. Woo!
Yeah, I think we're all ready for Spencer because of how much we'd heard about them, Spidey, from just growing up.
All over the tabloids when I was going into Target and Walmart as a teen.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's got
but
crazy
they really
eyes.
Yes. So I'm ready for it. We're zipping through season 1 to get to Spidey in season 2. But to get there, we have to sit through this breakup. And I was bothered by the portrayal of Lauren and Jason's relationship kind of got elevated because Heidi and Jordan were fighting so much. And I was like, Lauren and Jason's relationship should not look any better. It just felt like they were almost like, Lauren and Jason are doing really good, and it was just because Heidi and Jordan weren't. But I was like, this man's getting crazy scary about her being around male models. Like, no, they are not good either.
Wait, and when you say that though, do you mean that it was like showed to us like that, or based on what their friends were saying?
Well, yeah, I feel like it was both those things. It was almost like the show was kind of like making it seem like they're doing okay, and their friends are like, well, both of y'all can't be having trouble, so we're just going to be like Heidi and Jordan are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of true. It was, see, and I didn't even think about that because it did feel like the whole focus was on Heidi and Jordan's breakup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The main thing I wanted to touch on was like Lauren being so concerned about Jason's feelings. It just is like a huge red flag. Like, why do you have to worry so much about how he's going to feel about your job, or how he's going to feel about not going out and staying in? I feel like she has to tiptoe and looks very stressful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was scary. Like, again, for a reason, she clearly didn't tell him that there was going to be male models there, which leads me to believe this is probably not the first time that he's done something that made her feel like it was easier to just not tell him than tell him.
Well, yeah, we saw New Year's, Joe. Like,
oh yeah,
oh my God,
you're
getting
so right.
called by someone and he's just like,
yeah. But Morg, do you know what also freaked me out? So you know how you mentioned that Jordan tells him that that they were dealing with male models, and Jason like storms off. Like Jason seems so mad.
He storms off, and then he doesn't like I thought he was going to flip a switch, but he doesn't. And so I think you were saying earlier that he probably is going to hold this over her head, and I was like, what a good point. So you called it. I do think he's going to hold this over her head and be like, whenever something gets rocky between her, he's going to pull this card of like, well, you lied to me.
Yeah, because it was such a non-event when he like called her out on it. He was just kind of like, come on. And I was like, no, that's not the Jason I know. Jason I know is whack.
No. The Jason we know is going to lose his mind, but he's going to wait.
He's going to let it
He's going to wait until it's New Year's.
Yeah,
again.
He's going to let it build, and then the smallest thing, he's going to unleash it.
Yeah, I agree. So we're waiting for that, but really the height of the drama came with the breakup of Heidi and Jordan.
Yeah.
I also thought that was kind of abrupt. Like, not that I thought they had a great relationship, but I did feel like we haven't seen that build as much, which is why I was kind of commenting like, I would have thought Lauren and Jason break up first.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, we've seen little bits and pieces of like Heidi and Jordan having issues, but I will say the last episode, I think it was episode 7, we really did see, to me, they were falling apart then. So I can't say like, it did feel like it was coming in my opinion. But you're right. The buildup wasn't exactly there.
Yeah, because she just kind of goes to Audrina and is just like, I don't know, I'm not sure anymore, which is a great sign to get out, dear. But she has like a scene where Jordan, I guess, just calls her and is immediately cussing her out. It's like she answers the phone and it's like, he's cussing at me, don't cuss at me. And I was just like, whoa, like, how did y'all get here? Have y'all been like yelling at each other in texts? Or does this crazy man legit just call you and start with that? Like, hey, Jordan.
Yeah.
Bah! Like on the other end. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I assumed they were already fighting, but I just thought that was kind of nuts.
Yeah, because it's like as soon as she walks into Audrina's apartment, which is like also what a way to be greeted, is like you open the door to your friend
Hey,
and she's
girl.
like, don't cuss at me, Jordan. It's like, oh, girl, go back out there. I'm going to the pool.
Yeah, you need to go take care of the business, but I need to go enjoy my pool time.
Yeah, but I mean, and I feel like the root of their breakup was Jordan's anger, in my opinion.
Which he won't admit, and he establishes that he thinks his anger is part of his quote-unquote personality.
Morg, I mean, I just could not with Jordan here. He's like, I'm not going to change who I am. I can't. And instead of acknowledging that this is anger, he refers to it as passion. And like Heidi did too. And I was like, y'all are morons. That's not passion. That is like, he's like unable to manage his anger.
Yeah, passion requires you to like care about something. This man is losing it out of like no reason. And like calling her, cussing her out. Like, I don't know. I was just like, Heidi, come on. I need you to be a little bit more firm here and call this man out. You can't let him get away with being like, you know me, I got passion coming out of all places. Passion.
It's passion. Yeah, Morg. And she referred to it too. She's like, I know you're passionate. And I was like, girl, oh my gosh, it was really frustrating. But Morg, it did get me thinking, if there was anything that you could do where someone was like calling you out on something and you could take like a negative thing and somehow turn it into a weird positive, like what would you change? Like,
oh, like they're like a personality trait?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even have to be like a personality trait, or like, has anyone ever like gotten mad at you about something and you were like, okay, or whatever, but like,
yeah, but I could just like call it something different to make them feel better about themselves. If somebody was like super manipulative, you could like say that instead something positive would be like, well, you're so smart or something. And it's just like, but I don't know. I guess that's the first thing that came to mind. Like someone being very manipulative and being like, but you're so smart, you always try to like outsmart me.
Which also sounds like a manipulation tactic.
Yes.
You're just too smart for me.
Yeah, like what is that called when you're like trying to like get a kid to do something you want them to do,
Reverse
but
psychology.
yes.
Morgan,
You're just
that's what
so smart.
that's kind of what it was like. Was he's like, Heidi, it's just passion.
Yeah, that was super annoying. What about for you though? Is there a person or like a trait you would say that somebody who's getting mad at you?
That someone's getting mad at me and like, okay,
You're gonna give them an
give
out,
them an
Joe.
out.
You're gonna give them an out with it. They're just so smart.
Okay. Well, I feel like a quality that like bugs me is being like standoffish, and I feel like I could be like, you're just you're too busy, or you're just too busy to turn around, or you're too busy to focus your attention on the person who's right there. Like, I don't know.
Like but I feel like too busy is still negative. So maybe it would be something like
You're right.
You're so important.
There we go. That's the one. How did I not go there? You're just too important.
You're so important. Oh my gosh, all of these just sound so passive aggressive.
They do. But I feel like we've seen
You're
that
so
a lot.
passionate. Yeah.
But what's annoying is it wasn't even like she gave him the out. It's like he did it to himself. Like, who do you think you are, Jordan?
Yes, because it literally was like, she's like, you can't talk to me like that. You can't treat me this way. And he's just like, but my passion has to speak. And it was like, okay, so your passion is cussing her out. Your passion, like, it was almost like the passion was like another like embodiment of him.
Yes, it was like Jacqueline Hyde.
I thought it was hilarious while they're going through this big fight where he's blaming his passion for how much of a jerk he is, that both of them at different times trying to get the Chihuahua Joe that she was given at Christmas involved. They're like, Bella, come here. First, Jordan's like, come here, Bella. And then they like film the dog just like walking away. And then after Jordan leaves, like Heidi's like, Bella, come in here, as she goes to her room, and the dog walks away again. And she's like, fine.
Yeah, Morgan, my heart goes out to Bella. She is caught in a real pickle. I would not want to be owned by those people.
Yeah, Bella wanted nothing to do with the fight.
No, Bella was like, girl, you on your own. She's like, Jordan, no way. I'm not touching you.
No. And we see on multiple occasions, though, Jordan going to his idiot guy friends, specifically Brian, and being like, I don't know what to do, man. She's upset and whatnot. Again, not really taking any ownership of the fact that he treats her like garbage, but just really like being like, she's mad. And Brian, who is he to give advice, Joe? He's giving advice during this.
Well, and it's not the first time we've seen Brian like giving crappy advice.
No. And he's just like, this is during the basketball scene. So they're like in their basketball gear, and Brian's got this brilliant idea to Jordan. He's like, you know what you need to do? You need to drive up to her work, get a suit, drive up to her work, and say, we're going to dinner. And Jordan's response is like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
No, Morg, my favorite part about this whole interaction was then Brian's response to Jordan was like, well, that's all I gotta say. And I just
no more ideas.
I loved that because I feel like I'm always like trying to help someone brainstorm, like, okay, well, maybe you could do this, maybe you could do this. But I like how Brian was like, oh, one and done. Like,
that was
all
it,
I got,
man.
bro.
That's the best idea I've had all day, and I only have one of those a day.
Took me like 4 days to get there. I was too busy concocting my orange juice.
You know how many days that took? A lot. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just seeing Brian, and Brian like thinks so highly of their relationship, which makes me just really discredit any opinion he has, because he's just like, no, dude, like, no, y'all will work it out. Y'all are like Ken and Barbie.
Right?
And I was like, what?
Like, I was shocked by the amount of people who were shocked that Heidi and Jordan were not doing well. They're like, oh my gosh, but you guys are like the best couple. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they argue all the time.
They're not a good couple. They hate each other, and they think anger is passion.
They're confused.
So inevitably, as we know, they do break up. Heidi finally pulls the cord on that one, which I gotta give her credit for, because I was like, yes, this needs to end. The man is unapologetic and seems to think cussing you out is okay. So
yes, completely justifying his stupid actions. Ugh.
yeah, she cuts it off, which I'm like, thank you, Heidi. Make room for Spencer. Let's get to season 2, y'all.
So close.
There's a specific scene where Jordan is he's back with his boys, Joe. Gotta talk to the boys. And this is after they've broken up. And he goes on this long-winded rant about maybe, like, he's talking to Jason and Brian, and they're like, what happened, man? Like, you know, where did it all go wrong? Because they are still shocked that they broke up. And he's like, well, maybe I talked to her in a way that I shouldn't have. And maybe if I'd been nicer, and maybe. And he goes through about 4 or 5 maybes and never says, actually, I shouldn't have talked to her the way that I did, or actually, I should have been kinder and more thoughtful. Instead, it's a lot of maybes that he says could have solved their relationship woes and maybe worked it out, but maybe didn't cut it.
It's like he's just still so unwilling to like acknowledge any fault. Like, it's just like, maybe, I guess, but like maybe not. Like, maybe it wouldn't have changed anything. Like, it drives me nuts.
Maybe if I hadn't screamed at her, she maybe wouldn't have broke up with me, but maybe she would have anyways. There's really no way to know. We'll never know.
We'll never know, even though she definitely told me she didn't like it.
But you can't change passion. You can't change passion.
Morgan, you cannot change who you are. That is a key part of him, is passion.
And Jordan, at his core, is a bad guy. And he wants to keep it that way.
Exactly. Unwilling to grow.
His, unlimited maybes discussion really made me want to ask you, what is like if you could only describe it the way Jordan did, could you describe a situation where I would know what you're talking about if you said maybe as the starting point? So like an argument you've had with someone and you were deflecting all blame, what would you say, Joe, to kind of word it the way Jordan did?
So in this situation, I'm in the wrong?
You are in the wrong, but you are not taking any blame for it.
Okay. Gosh, man, which time do I want to choose? I don't know why this is the one that jumps in my head, but okay. Maybe if when my mom told me she wanted me to go buy Schlotzsky's, maybe if I would have gone and gotten it, she wouldn't have yelled at me and gotten really mad at me. But maybe it wouldn't have changed anything. Maybe if I would have gone to Schlotzsky's, she still would have been mad.
That's great, Joe. Just don't take any blame for anything. Just say maybe. I like it.
I truly believe that too, Morg.
Maybe.
What about you? Do you have a moment that you feel like the maybes, like, maybe it would have not changed anything if you would have done something differently?
I guess I have like a more of a general one. Like if I was like speeding and a cop pulled me over and I was like, maybe if you hadn't been on this road, and maybe if I had slowed down a little bit, maybe you wouldn't have to be doing this, and maybe I wouldn't need to get a ticket, but maybe I would have been speeding anyways because maybe I needed to get somewhere fast. That
also sounds like a very Jordan-esque way to try to get out of a ticket.
I fully expect to still receive a ticket if I said any of that.
I mean, I think you should, but I definitely feel like our boy Jordan wouldn't. Be like, are you kidding me?
No. and that is what his friends would find acceptable. Like if my friends said any of that to me, I'd be like, sounds like you deserved a ticket, dude.
Right, but they're like bros through and through, Morg, because they're just like, well, okay.
Yeah, like,
like they were like, nobody was like, hear me out for a second. Maybe you're a jerk, and maybe if you didn't suck so bad, your girlfriend wouldn't have dumped you.
No, like Brian is acting like his parents are getting divorced. This is his roommate and his roommate's girlfriend, and he's like, but y'all love each other.
Yeah, for 6 months, like, shut up, Brian.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is obvious, Joe, but and maybe it's not obvious, but maybe it is. So I feel like we need to do a quick game to round out our episode. We named this King of the Hills. This is where we give a superlative at the end of the episodes that we've watched to someone. And this week's superlative, Joe, is most eye rolls of the week. So during episodes 8 and 9, who were you eye rolling at the most? Who is King of the Hills this week?
Morg, I feel like this is so obvious, but it is Brian. Like, and I can give you, yeah, like Brian is honestly, up until this point, probably my most eye rolls in the show. Because, so I'm thinking about this specific moment. Remember I told you I had to watch the orange juice twice because I was so confused by like what I was watching. So in that moment, they're talking about the models, right? This is when Jason finds out that Lauren's working with the male models. And Brian, it just felt like a plug more. He's like, it's like, I hate how models are like need to say they're models. He's like, I'm a model and I didn't even do that. Like when I lived in New York, I didn't even do that. But it was like, you literally just did it. Morg, I'm telling you, in that moment, I couldn't handle it.
I didn't even say I was a model when I was a model.
And it's like, I'm a model. Like he says I'm a model.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I didn't do that. And it was, it made me so annoyed that I could not look past anyone else for most eye rolls of the week.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Okay. You didn't feel like there's any either runner up or anyone that you think is a strong contender here?
Yeah. So I guess like number one had to go to Brian. I definitely think a runner up would be Audrina, who she had a really annoying moment to me where she was saying that while she was having these moments with these models that they're boring. She's like, pretty boys are so boring and I just need a bad boy. And I was just had to pause because Audrina is so boring. We've talked about this. She's the most boring.
Yes. Morgan, I'd forgotten about her to even consider her for this category.
And so I had to give a huge eye roll when we saw that scene because I was like, are you kidding me? But Brian had multiple scenes that really took the cake. So I couldn't give it to anyone else besides Brian.
Yeah, well, I agree. Definitely runner up was Audrina.
Saying people are boring. Oh my God. Pretty boys are so boring. Audrina, stop.
I was shocked that she said that. Clear. Does she not see it in herself? Does she think she's fun?
I think so.
That might be the biggest shock of this season. Bigger than Heidi breaking up with Jordan.
Bigger than anything.
I think that should have been the cliffhanger. It's like, wait, you think you're fun? And then it cuts to episode 10 and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till next week.
And Lauren Conrad voices over. We were all shocked. Audrina thought she was fun.
We thought she knew. Well, Morg, although I wish it ended like that, it didn't. And we're all caught up. We have one episode left to wrap up this season. So I'm super excited to see what happens in episode 10, the aftermath of the breakup with Heidi, what's going on with Lauren and Jason, the season finale.
I'm so excited. I'm probably going to watch it right after we're done recording this.
I was thinking the same exact thing. So we're going to go watch it and we'll get back together and we're going to watch the finale, talk about the finale, and also just final thoughts over the whole season before we get right into season number 2.
I can't wait.
So we will see you back here next week for episode 10 and final thoughts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and on all of our socials. We are the Double Loser Podcast. Have an excellent weekend.
Woo!